A very good evening to you and welcome to your program, Money and the Economy. My name is Abdul Fattah Otori. Now, as the world grapples with the coronavirus, the economic impact is mounting, with the Organization for Economic Cooperation and Development warning that the virus presents the biggest danger to the global economy since the 2008 financial crisis. The United Nations Conference on Trade and Development, the UN Trade Agency, warned of a slowdown of global growth to under 2% this year, effectively wiping $1 trillion off the value of the world economy. In fact, in the face of this major public health challenge, no thanks to the coronavirus, the world faces economic strangulation. At least 8,648 people globally have died from COVID-19, as the illness is officially known, while more than 207,000 infections have been confirmed in at least 166 countries and territories, according to the World Health Organization. Most cities in Europe and the United States are fast becoming desolate as both fiscal and monetary authorities have ordered the people to stay at home with some financial palliative measures.
But for us, as Nigerians now realize, the coronavirus pandemic is having significant adverse consequences for both the global and the Nigerian economies. It has already led to unprecedented disruptions in global supply chains, sharp reduction in crude oil prices, turmoil in the global stock and financial markets, widespread cancellations in sporting, entertainment and business events, lockdown of large sorts of movements of persons in many countries, and intercontinental travel restrictions across critical air routes all through the world.
The Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, there. Now, the consequences are grave and scary. Nigeria has some confirmed cases. She has, however, ordered the closure of NYSC orientation camps across the country as part of measures to stem the spread of the virus. What effects will coronavirus outbreak have on the nation's economy? What is the CBN doing to mitigate the impact? And how prepared are we as a nation to respond to COVID-19? These are some of the questions we'll be asking on this program today, and we have our experts on the line to do justice to that. We also have Harriet Parkinson to bring us up-to-speed reports on activities in the business and financial sector. But first, let's take a message from our sponsor, and of course, Prince Ade and his friends from the great city of Onyegewe. Don't go away. We'll be back.
Baba Esike, I don't understand yourself. Night don't they come and your friend never still return your 200,000 and you just sit on your jeje.
Oh, nah, Baba Bola you dey talk. But he don't pay me now.
He don't pay you? When? Not be me and you dey here since morning. Baba Bola I no see.
That now because he don't do instant fund transfer to my account. That's not the cashless way.
But I never see the money now.
Bam! You don't get them. To go cashless means we no go to carry cash again. Now, you fit use other better ways like POS machine, ATM, internet banking, and even phone to the carry and to the move money. See my phone. My bank don already send me message say money don enter my account.
Hey! To go cashless na the way now.
This message is brought to you by the Central Bank of Nigeria.
Malam Kato, you there for house when your brother him they celebrate the new car with him buy, and you there here. Malam, you know one jollification. Malam mo.
Kai Malam Kato I know there for house, and me I no go anybody to go celebrate.
Who are you? Who are you
me
now?
I be Malam Kato brother. Not be I be Ike. Mana.
You know me.
I know you very well, man.
Okay, your brother him they celebrate Corolla motor with him buy. Ngwa, make we go jollificate with your brother.
Kai one Ike I no sabi anything. Can I jinako? I know here say this thing I call am poka corona where I dey kill people everywhere. Kai me I no go there. I talk am for radio say I no good. Me bazan je ba.
Chachineke o. How man pikin go take him hand go buy that by himself? Abi na Corolla you dey talk?
Kai no be the same thing I say wallahi. I beg me I no one die. Wallahi ni ba na so imutu.
It be like a sense there for this to know how we go take corona away from this corona way from China. Come kill us.
Ike akosam. Ike akosam. Me, I talk and say, IK, this thing I dey do, I know good. I dey import everything from China, I know good. IK, I know here wood. I dey import to fake from China. I dey import everything.
Malam. You see, I don't stop that in Tete.
Don't Allah. Make I go say friends, I dey for him office.
Oh, you sabi Prince Ade too?
I sabi Prince Ade.
Let's go. I'm sure he must have something to tell us. Let's go.
Please come in. The door is not locked.
I greet you.
Thank you. Oh, this must be Malam's brother. I was told that Malam is not feeling fine. Okay, Okavo.
Malam Kukuloda. Presade.
Yes.
Look, it be like say the world they under what they call that thing? Siege.
Under siege. Okay.
Siege, yeah. School, them close. Man picking, him cannot go church or mosque again. All the people who they owe person money, him they don't run come out. Chineke. Because of the risers from this country, how can we be able to survive? Malam cannot be able to sell him suya. Everything don't fall for ground, Yakata.
Malam, do you have anything else to add to what Ikechukwu has unequivocally communicated?
Waiting, I talk?
Just tell him all correct.
All correct.
No argument.
Bad argument.
Well, Ike, you are very correct. Shongbo, see, the entire world is under siege of coronavirus, bringing the best of world superpowers to their knees like a car chasing an elephant. That is it. See, some countries have turned to ghost towns. Health facilities have been overstretched and health workers overwhelmed. Even business premises are deserted and workers ordered to stay at home. It is a very bad situation. You see, even some powerful world leaders are now breathing through their anus. All because of coronavirus. It is as bad as that.
Prince Ade? Yes. Waiting I they do now? Abi, how can someone just they look people like that? I go they die, they go anyhow.
Yes. Good question. What are you people doing to save your people from this dangerful calamities?
Yes. It is a good question that you asked. Well, as part of our response to the pandemic, the Oba of all Lusuzu Bank has graciously taken some palliative measures in order to support the fight against this pandemic.
Kai Prince Ade. The thing where they kill people now no be pandemic. That is the Kai na corona them kolampa. It is not a pandemic.
Changing them up and down.
Okay. Mutigo, I don't want to engage in any argument now. I just want you to know that the Are Onokakanfo of this community plus the Oba of all Lusuzu Bank, they are very concerned about the aggression of corona. The way it is killing old and young is very bad.
My problem, him they kill my customer too. Him for they kill only customer for this suya man.
Kai.
But selfish man.
One I be bad facing.
Just listen to me. See, this community of Onyegewe, we have decided to extend by 1 year the moratorium on all interventional loans and every hospital that want to expand like expanded program on immunization or that want to buy equipment or drugs. Shangwami, the Oba has promised to give loan with kekere interest.
We talk and before say our Oga as the top, he could do something.
He must do something.
That is not all. See, any business you are doing now that is affected by coronavirus pandemic, the Oba said you will be giving support.
We don't win. Let us go, Ike. Let us shake hand, man.
Is it easy? Holy Ghost fire. They send you.
Welcome back. The world is facing a war of unimaginable proportion with grossly inadequate means to fight. Countries are shutting down completely. In Nigeria, events are being cancelled or postponed at best. Schools are being closed, and parents are advised to pick their children and words from the schools. Considering the enormity of the pressure the coronavirus pandemic puts on the living standard of the people, fiscal and monetary authorities of various countries are trying to put some measures forward to mitigate the effect. For example, the United States released $1 trillion emergency stimulus to pay each citizen $1,000. UK released a £330 billion business loan package and ordered the state agents not to evict any tenant who are unable to pay for their rents. Germany released $600 billion stimulus. Canada released $20 billion Canadian economic relief package and stops payment of rents. And in Nigeria, the government has crashed the petroleum pump price from 145 naira to 125 naira. And the Federal Executive Council has also approved the reduction in the size of the 2020 budget by about 1.5 trillion naira, although this is subject to the approval of the National Assembly. On the other hand, the Monetary Authority also took some measures in the same direction. In what could be called a comprehensive response to the pandemic, the Governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, announced the Apex Bank's first set of response to the global pandemic, coronavirus, also known as COVID-19, at a news conference in Abuja. Emefiele spoke on some of its new policies and revised policies to support businesses, households, regulated financial institutions, healthcare practitioners and other stakeholders to cushion the adverse economic impact of this pandemic.
Several things are being done by different economies, particularly on the monetary side, to see how to ameliorate the pain on the people of those countries. But let me say that our initial assessment shows that the consequences, yes, we do expect, naturally we're beginning to see as a result of the death, what we call health crises on people in different economies and different countries. But I'd like to say that downside, after facing the realities of the health crisis, what we do expect is that there will be very serious economic crisis. Indeed, some are already saying that whether we like it or not, the global economy will certainly go into recession. You all probably know that in 2 weeks, the New York Stock Exchange has lost over $13 trillion as a result of this. And no one knows how far these losses will go.
The governor said the coronavirus pandemic was having significant adverse consequences for both the global and the Nigerian economies.
These outcomes have had serious adverse implications for key sectors, including but not limited to oil and gas, airlines, manufacturing, trade, and consumer markets. In furtherance of its financial system stability mandate, the Central Bank of Nigeria is committed to providing support for affected households, businesses, regulated financial institutions, and other stakeholders in order to cushion the adverse economic consequences of this pandemic on our people. Accordingly, the Central Bank of Nigeria hereby announces the following policy measures.
The governor spoke of extension of moratorium, interest rate reduction, and creation of 50 billion naira targeted credit facility as measures to cushion the effects of the pandemic.
1. Extension of moratorium. All the Central Bank of Nigeria intervention facilities are hereby granted a further moratorium of 1 year on all principal repayments effective March 1, 2020. This means that any intervention loan currently under moratorium are hereby granted additional period of moratorium of 1 year. Accordingly, participating financial institutions are hereby directed to provide new amortization schedules for all facilities for their beneficiaries. 2. Interest rate reduction. Interest rates on all applicable Central Bank of Nigeria intervention facilities are hereby reduced from 9% to 5% per annum for 1 year, effective March 1, 2020. 3. Creation of a targeted credit facility. The CBN hereby establishes a facility through National Microfinance Bank to the sum of about 50 billion naira for households and micro, small and medium enterprise-sized enterprises that have been particularly hit by COVID-19, including but not limited to hoteliers, airline service providers, healthcare merchants, and etc.
On credit support for healthcare industry, Mr. Emefiele said the Apex Bank has now opened for its intervention facilities loans to pharmaceutical companies intending to expand.
Credit support for healthcare industry. To meet potential increase in demand for healthcare services and products, the CBN hereby opens for its intervention facilities loans to pharmaceutical companies intending to expand or establish their own drug manufacturing plants in Nigeria, as well as to hospital and healthcare practitioners who intend to expand or build healthcare facilities to first-class standards. This is in addition to growing the size of our existing interventions to the agricultural and manufacturing sectors in Nigeria.
On regulatory forbearance, the governor announced the granting of all deposit money banks leave to consider temporary and time-limited restructuring of the tenure and loan terms for businesses.
The CBN hereby grants all deposit money banks leave to consider temporary and time-limited restructuring of the tenure and loan terms for businesses and households most affected by this outbreak of COVID-19, particularly the oil and gas, agric, manufacturing. The CBN would work closely with our deposit money banks to ensure that the use of this forbearance is targeted, that it is transparent and temporary, whilst maintaining individual DMB's financial strength and overall financial stability of this system. What are we saying here? You took a loan from a bank because there's a drop in your revenues arising from the adverse consequences you're suffering as a result of COVID-19. We're saying that the banks have been granted for a dispensation where they should be able to restructure your loans for a longer tenure, so that what you're going to be repaying to the bank as either principal plus interest, even this is even aside from our intervention facilities, whatever you're going to be paying to the banks either as principal repayment or loan repayment is reduced substantially because of the fact that your loan would have been restructured for a longer tenure and possibly at lower interest rates, so that your business can remain alive.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria also spoke on strengthening of the CBN's loan-to-deposit ratio policy.
In view of the success of the loan-deposit ratio policy in growing credit to the economy and reducing interest rates, the CBN would further support industry funding levels to maintain deposit money bank capacity to direct credit to individuals, households, and businesses. We would also consider additional incentives to encourage extension of longer tenured credit facilities to borrowers. Deposit money banks are encouraged to continue to build capital buffers in order to improve resilience of the banking sector. Lastly, the CBN stands ready to provide liquidity backstops as and when required in view of its role as banker to the federal government and lender of last resort. The CBN would continue to monitor developments and will issue further updates and directives as may be deemed appropriate.
The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, Godwin Emefiele, there.
This is Money and Economy on your radio.
Now, as always, you too can be a part of this conversation. Send us a message via SMS or WhatsApp. The number is 0812-541-9549. 0812-541-9549. You can also tweet at us. The handle is at Gado Agency. Use the hashtag Money and the Economy, one word, and hashtag CBN. We'll expect to hear from you. For more information, kindly visit the CBN's website, www.cbn.gov.ng. Now, I have joining me via the telephone all the way from Lagos, an economist and financial analyst, Mr. Johnson Chukwu. Hello and thanks for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Now, let's talk about this issue of the coronavirus ravaging the entire world and how it's affecting the global economy.
Well, the only way I can describe what is going on is similar, it's akin to aliens invading the earth and bombing out every country in the world. And we are all trying to protect ourselves without having the capacity to fight back. So you see the coronavirus pandemic has affected each of the countries of the world. Even those who don't have medical cases in their country, they are dealing with the economic fallout. So everybody is feeling the pinch. We've seen countries shut down. Italy has shut down. Spain has shut down. France is about to shut down. Canada has shut down its borders. The entire Europe has shut down their borders to other countries of the world. And then Nigeria has just restricted entry into the country to only two airports. That's Murtala Mohammed International Airport and Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport in Abuja. So you're dealing with a pandemic that is so pervasive, and unfortunately the world has not found an exact cure or even a vaccine. It's something that has both human dimensions and severe economic dimensions.
How much effect would it have on Nigeria's economy?
It might be difficult for one to measure, but clearly it's having negative effect on the Nigerian economy. We have seen a sharp drop in crude oil price, which has led the federal government to propose a reduction in budget in the federal government 2020 budget from 10.59 trillion to 9.09 trillion. That's a reduction of about 1.5 trillion. And then the government has also budgeted that even its revenue from oil will now be benchmarked at $30 per barrel. Unfortunately, even crude price has dropped below $30 per barrel. And government is hoping that it can produce and sell 1.8 million barrels at a time when we can't even sell 50 of our April cargo deliveries. We can't find market for them. And that's why I said it may be difficult for one to estimate how severe the impact will be.
I'm sure you're aware that the Central Bank of Nigeria has rolled out some measures to mitigate the impact of this pandemic. Do you consider these measures adequate?
There's a limit to what the central bank can do. The central bank can only use the tools at its disposal, which are the monetary policy tools and the financial stabilization tools. The reduction in interest rates on CBN intervention funds from 9% to 5% and granting of 1 year moratorium on all such intervention funds. One will reduce the repayment burdens that those who have accessed those funds will now face, because it's expected that economic activity will slow down. So when economic activity slows down, the revenues of corporate organizations will also come down. And some of them may not be able to earn enough revenue to pay their obligations, debt obligations. And that's why the central bank came up with reduction on interest rate and extension of 1 year moratorium on all such credits. The central bank can also say that it will grant some level of forbearance. It will grant some level of forbearance to banks so as to allow them accommodate the request of some of their customers who may not be in positions to meet their obligations without necessarily having to provision those loans as non-performing. If you look at what is happening in other countries, the British Prime Minister only yesterday instructed all real estate agencies not to evict anybody that's unable to pay his or her rent. So it is clear to everybody in the world that economies are slowing down and people may not have enough income to meet their obligations. So the central bank recognized that, and that's why they said, look, it's going to grant some regulatory forbearance to the banks, and it's also reducing the interest rate payable on intervention funds as well as a granted moratorium. It has also gone further to say for the healthcare sector, initially it came up with a 50 billion intervention fund for the healthcare sector. And these are to enable Nigerian health organizations, firms that can get a franchise or patent for testing kits and vaccines to assess those things. And those who have a capacity to expand their medical facilities, particularly those with tertiary capabilities, to assess funds at the lower cost and increase their capacity as to be able to manage the fallout of the health crisis that this pandemic is going to bring about.
Mr. Johnson Chukwu, I must thank you very much for being a part of the program today.
Thank you for having me.
This is Money and Economy on your radio.
It's now time to welcome Harriet Parkinson for happenings in the business and financial sector this week. Harriet.
Thank you, Abdul, and thank you for joining us. Here is the Week in Review. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced plans to raise its intervention in all critical sectors of the economy by another 1 trillion naira in response to the impact of the coronavirus pandemic. The CBN Governor, Godwin Emefiele, while addressing newsmen in Abuja, said the intervention would boost local manufacturing and import substitution in the economy as a way of providing relief to the people affected by the deadly virus and also create more jobs. He said the CBN would, in the days ahead, continue to reel out its support for the economy. Similarly, the Federal Executive Council, FEC, has approved the reduction in the size of the 2020 budget by about 1.5 trillion naira as part of measures to address the impact of coronavirus disease on the economy. The Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Zainab Ahmed, made this known while addressing State House correspondents on the outcome of the council meeting on Wednesday. She said the proposed budget cut of 1.5 trillion naira is subject to the approval of the National Assembly. Still on coronavirus, the World Bank has approved an additional $14 billion package to assist companies and countries in their efforts to prevent further spread of COVID-19. A statement by the bank says the fast-track financing package will help strengthen national systems for public health preparedness, including disease containment, diagnosis and treatment, as well as support the private sector. It says the International Finance Corporation, IFC, a member of the World Bank Group, will also increase its COVID-19 related financing availability to $8 billion as part of the $14 billion package from an earlier $6 billion. The package would also benefit sectors involved in responding to the pandemic, including healthcare and related industries, which face increased demand for services, medical equipment, and pharmaceuticals. And to stock news now, transactions on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange yesterday halted the previous day's gain with a loss of 3.12%. The decline was impacted by sell-off in most blue-chip firms as the market breadth closed negative, recording 13 gainers against 22 losers. Consequently, the all-share index dipped 711.06 basis points to close at 22,078.58 index points as against 22,789.64 recorded recorded the previous trading session, while market capitalization of equities depreciated by 371 billion naira from 11.876 trillion naira the previous day. Meanwhile, a turnover of 525.8 million shares exchanged in 5,450 deals was recorded in the day's trading. The premium subsector was the most active stock with 196.4 million shares exchanged by investors in 2,756 deals. Volume in the subsector was largely driven by activities in the shares of FBNH PLC and Zenith Bank PLC. Also, the banking subsector boosted by the activities in the shares of the Fidelity Bank PLC and Guarantee Trust Bank PLC, followed with a turnover of 141.4 million shares in 1,290 deals. Africa Prudential Registrars PLC topped the day's gainers table with 9.91% to close at 3 naira 55 kobo. On the flip side, Zenith Bank PLC and UCAP PLC led the lager with a drop of 10% each to close at 12 naira 15 kobo and 2 naira 34 kobo per share. On the CBN exchange market, the US dollar exchanges for 307 naira, the pound sterling exchanges for 364 naira 7 kobo, while the euro goes for 336 naira 62 kobo. Inflation rate is 12.2%, while monetary policy rate MPR remains 13.5%. Meanwhile, the Nigerian Bonny Light sells for $27.56 per barrel. That's the week in review. It's back to you, Abdul, for the rest of the program. My name is Harriet Parkinson. Stay safe.
Thank you very much, Harriet, for the news. Our quiz for this week is next. State one of the policy measures the CBN rolled out to cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic. State one of the policy measures the CBN rolled out to cushion the effect of coronavirus pandemic. Send your answer to the WhatsApp number 0812-541-9549, 0812-541-9549. The first correct answer wins our gift for the week. Thank you.
This is Money and Economy on your radio.
The winner of last week's quiz is... Oh no, I'm sorry, no one got it last week. The question was, where and when was the first round table session of Go for Growth held? Where and when was the first round table session of Go for Growth held? The answer? The last meeting was actually held in June last year in Lagos and not Abuja, as most of you sent. You can try again today and you just could get it right. State one of the policy measures the CBN rolled out to cushion the effect of the coronavirus pandemic. And that's our show for today. We told you that the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has announced a reduction of interest rates in all its intervention facilities from 9% to 5% per annum for 1 year to cushion the effect of coronavirus pandemic. We also told you that the Apex Bank had created a facility through the Nigerian Incentive-Based Risk Sharing System for Agricultural Lending, NISAL, microfinance banks to support households and micro, small and medium enterprises that had been hit by COVID-19. Money and the Economy is a production of Gado Agency Limited, sponsored by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN. The voices in our drama were those of Blessed Arulayo, Ndubisi Ukpaga and Osondu Ugbako. Godwin Emefiele is the producer, assisted by John Chukuma and Ayo Babatunde. My name is Abdul Fattah Otori. Please stay safe, avoid crowded areas, and remember to wash your hands frequently. See you next week.